And with COVID, lockdown, whatever term we use to describe what bizarre season we're in, and and what anxieties increased. I think Nikki Walker's a counsellor that comes to our church, and she asked the question of what other pressures are happening now with anxiety, and what do you see? So I think I've had a conversation with Pete Winter last couple of weeks, just talking about the prophetic voice of the church, and I think the prophetic voice of the church in the realm of mental health and well-being is one of those prophetic voices. I think we're still working out what God's saying to His church this time, but without any question, it's into the area of mental health and anxiety. Is there any sort of reflections? What's changed in your ministry or what you're thinking in the last few weeks, or months?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I mean, Rick Warren said that we're all in the same storm, but we're all in different boats. And so I'm a bit cautious to say that there is one sort of approach to anxiety, because if you're living alone right now, then loneliness is a key mental health challenge. If you're living in a family, there could be other pressures. A lot of people I know in Crawley are suffering economically because of the issues around Gatwick Airport, and I'm really sorry to hear how that's impacting you there. And also a lot of people living in flats under a lot of pressure without a lot of outside space again. So, I think Crawley's definitely in our prayers right now. It's really, really tough time for people there, and I'm really sorry to hear how you've been impacted by this. If we're talking in general terms, we have what we call a fight or flight mechanism. There's three systems in the body: recovery, productivity, and security. And the security system is a bit like in a car. It's a bit like a car alarm. In a car, you've got the body of the car and you've got the engine of the car. They're very useful. They're the things that you use most of the time. But actually having a security system is also really good, because if someone comes to try and break into your car and steal your car, the alarm should go off. The trouble is, that's supposed to be a short experience. COVID-19 is a bit like the burglar is constantly attacking your car for like months and months at a time. So it's like the alarm is going off all the time. And our bodies are designed for short, sharp shocks of adrenaline. A bear breaks into your lodge in the woods, you run extremely fast, you experience a lot of adrenaline and cortisol to help your body change to be able to deal with that threat. What we aren't very well adapted towards is this idea that you're constantly living in a state of fear. So a lot of people are experiencing what I call like an adrenal burnout or drip feed adrenaline, where effectively you're feeling in a state of threat all the time, but just exhausted. And so that sort of status anxiety is really, really hard to manage. It's just a feeling of like constantly being on edge, maybe not sleeping so well, maybe under-eating or overeating, maybe just emotionally irritable or fluctuating. A lot of people talk about sort of flip-flopping between kind of one day feeling great, the next day feeling absolutely terrible, but never being able to sort of predict mood. A lot of that's related to anxiety. And I mean, there's some things we can do to help ourselves before we even move into sort of mental health techniques, but particularly limiting our news feed. I tend to consume about half an hour of news a day in the morning, and then just use that as all I will take. So I'll just process that throughout the day. Keeping a really good routine. People do better with routines. So getting up at the same time, going to bed at the same time every day, breaking your day up into sort of timetabled slots of 4 slots, making sure at least one of those is what I call in the productivity phase. Not going nocturnal, staying within the daylight hours, really important for people's mental health. Not kind of getting lost in box sets or sofa surfing in your pajamas all day long. Not good for your self-esteem, and like nutrition is really important too. So basic things, basic self-care can help us. And making sure we're connected to others, having at least one meaningful, emotionally connected conversation every day. But one of the key things that we need to try and avoid is this constant catastrophizing of the future. But all of the news outlets at the moment are all trying to make the future concrete. So if you look at how many times the word may is used in a news piece, you'll know whether it's worth reading or not. If it says schools may reopen on the 1st of June, don't read it. If it says there may be a vaccine in the next 3 months, don't read it. If it says, airports may open at Christmas, don't read it. Don't read anything that says may, because it's not helping you. All it's doing is propagating this question about whether something will happen or not. And anxiety is ultimately anxiety that's out of control. Remember, anxiety is adaptive and it's good for our bodies. It's important. It's not a spiritual thing. God's created anxiety, our system, to keep us safe. This is not about anxiety being a mental health problem. This is about anxiety being a good thing that gets out of control and becomes a problem when it becomes overactive. So try not to demonize your anxiety system. Just recognize that it needs to be moderated, and moderating it is not catastrophizing the future all the time, but staying in the present. In Matthew 6, Jesus says, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's got enough cares of its own. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Today's got enough problems of its own. It's that whole thing. Stay present in the moment.
Yeah.
That is good cognitive behavioral therapy. Don't look to the future, because you don't need to do that right now. You can't, as Corrie ten Boom says, resolve the problems of tomorrow with the strengths of today.
Yeah. So good.
You want to stay present.
Yeah. So it's the what if questions that are exhausting. It's a bit like my golf. What if? And it's like, what if I didn't? But that's really helpful, because as church leaders and as people in the congregation, we're asking that what if question. So that you're absolutely right. That is exhausting. And really, really great advice. Thank you.